Yes, sir. Yeah.
Divya? Today, what we do is that we get into this hive, okay, and then start doing some practicals on this particular hive today. Just want to understand how these things are expected to work here is something that we'll try to look into this one here in this particular point. Okay, so see here. One thing that you understood is there is a particular metadata store. Okay, so can anybody tell me, Murli, what is the purpose of this meta store here? What is the purpose of this meta store? Metadata
Uh,
store.
so Metastore is nothing but a data dictionary. So relational database related to
Mm-hmm.
the structures which is stored in HDFS. Basically stores the
Okay,
schema
sure.
of tables.
What it does is that it basically stores the schemas of the it basically stores the structures of the tables. Okay, it basically stores the structures of the tables, and the tabular data is stored within your Hadoop distributed file system. That is one thing that we need to really understand. Okay, and the second thing is it a transactional language? It is not a transactional language, right? It is basically is an OLAP system. OLAP system in the sense we generally use it for the purpose of querying the data, as well as we use this one for the purpose of analyzing that particular data. So that's how this is expected to be used. And deletes and updates are something that we don't prefer to do in this one. That's why Hive is basically treated as an what we can say, data warehousing infrastructure that has been overlaid on data warehousing infrastructure that has been overlaid on uh, HDFS for the purpose of doing your analysis on that particular data. For the purpose of doing your analysis on that particular data. Okay. Now, so one thing what I do is that see here, when you go to this Edrica home, okay, I have two files here. One is nothing but your transaction1.txt file is there. Okay, there is one more file which is nothing but your CUST file is there here. CUST file as well as transaction1.txt file is there. Okay, using these two things, what I want to do is that I would like to use this Hive for the purpose of creating the table as well as inserting some records into that particular table and then do some SQL operations on that particular table. So let us start doing this one here. Okay, so I get into this terminal. What you do is that make sure that you are in your home directory only. Make sure that you are in your home directory. Another thing is that uh, generally at some point of time, what happens is that this Hive doesn't start automatically. In such a case, I prefer you to reboot your system. I prefer you to reboot your system. Okay, rebooting the system will try to make sure that you stop all these particular demands, making sure that everything is getting stopped and everything is getting stopped, and you can have the option of restarting your system once again so that you can have a fresh feel of your softwares that can be started on that one basically. Okay. Has anybody tried Cloudera, or you're using only the virtual machine that I have been given? Kamran, how about you? Shashank, has anybody tried Cloudera at any point?
No, Ravi.
Yeah, I'm also not able to try it.
Mhm. Okay.
Is it a bit different on Cloudera, Ravi, rather than the virtual machine what we see?
There are no the same virtual machine itself, but only one thing is that there might be a set of Cloudera specific ecosystem tools that might be available. Okay, in order to have a different look and feel environment. That's why it's better to have a knowledge of more than one distribution, right? That is the reason I'm just asking you, Shashank. Nothing else about that.
Sure, Ravi. Yeah.
Okay, I go on to this particular terminal. Within this terminal, what I do is that I'll make sure that whether I have this particular PW that exists, and once the PW exists, what I do is that I go with this particular hive here. It's not something like pig minus x local or pig minus x map reduce is not something which is required here. I go with this particular hive. Just see what is happening here. Okay, hive has come here. There is what is your hive shell? Okay, so within this hive shell, what I want to do is that first thing is that I want to create a database name. Okay. Create. It is something like trying to create a schema here. We can have any number of schemas created. Okay. Yes. Retail I'll create. So once you execute one, what happens is that it says okay. When it said okay, that means that it has created that particular database retail. Okay, but you can have the option of creating any number of databases, but at any point of time, you can have the option of using one database at any point. Okay, that means that you have to have a pointer that points to that particular database. So that is the reason what it is that I try to use one more command. This particular command is going to make this particular database as current. So whatever all the DDL, DML, or TCL operations that we do, will be done only within this particular retail. That is the purpose of this particular use database command. Is it clear, Shashank? What is the purpose of this use and what is the purpose of this create? Okay. Now, suppose what it is that I specify something like drop database retail. If I specify something like, see what happens. It has dropped. Now, when I go ahead and then when I specify something called as use retail, what happens? Execution error. Database does not exist at all. That is the reason. So first thing is that I need to create this database. Based on the creation of this database only, I can have the option of using that particular retail over there. Can you use this pwd command here? I cannot use. Why? Because this itself is a total hive shell that can be used only for the purpose of interacting with your HDFS with the help of your HQL, which is nothing but your Hive query language. Hive query language here. Okay, now I want to create a particular table. Okay, for the purpose of creating that table, as I have told you, right, there are two things. One is that transaction records are there along with your customer data is there. Okay, you can the same thing what you have done in Pig, the same thing I'm going to mimic here. Okay, for the purpose of doing this one, what I'm doing is that I want to create a table. Okay, the name of this one is TXN records. Here, the primitive data types what you are having here has to be specified in capital letters. Okay, so I need to specify something called as TXN number, which is nothing but your integer, that is nothing but the transaction number, and then followed by this TXN date, that is the transaction date. Okay, where I'm trying to define this one a string like this. These are all the primitive data types, guys. Okay, and you have something called as a customer number, which you want to define this one as int here, then followed by the amount. By this one, you'll be able to understand what are the data types that you're having here and how these data types are being mentioned here. That is nothing but the double that I can specify here. Once that is specified, okay, I'd like to go to category, okay, which is also defined as string like this. Then I'm trying to mimic here. That's the reason I just memorize this particular column names. Okay, this is nothing but the string. Okay, and city is something which is also treated as string. So Shashank, the next question what I'm going to ask you is what is the major difference between this one and the previous one? In the Pig, I'm going to ask you. So just be ready with your answer. Okay, city is nothing but string, and I'm also going to specify this one, which is nothing but string in this particular case. Then I want to understand the spend amount. Spend by, which is nothing but your string here. Okay, and then followed by, once this is done, these are all the columns that has been defined. Once these things has been defined, then what I want to do is that I'd like to specify this row format. This is nothing but your row format. The row format is going to be delimited. Row format is going to be delimited, and then fields are going to be terminated by comma. Fields terminated by comma. Fields terminated by comma. Comma, and then stored as a text file. Stored as a text file. Stored as a text. What do you mean by this one here? Hey, one thing. Is your data is going to be stored in the HDFS in the form of an actual table, Divya? Is your data going to be stored in the table in the form of an actual table or no? Yes or no?
No.
How it is going to be stored? It is expected to be stored in the form of a file, right? It is expected to be stored in the form of a file.
Yes.
So how are you going to specify? I need to specify the nature of that particular file. What is that nature of that particular file here? It is going to be a delimited file. It is going to be delimited file, and those particular fields are going to be terminated by commas here, and then it is going to be stored as a text file. So that's why it is not only that you are trying to create the structure. It is not only that you are trying to create the structure, but also what you are trying to do is that you are also going to specify how the nature of the file is going to be. When it is stored within HDFS. This is the information that has to be specified. So that's the reason, as I have told you, whenever you are going to create the table, the metadata of that particular table, exists within that meta store, and the file has to be stored within HDFS. So that's why the second part what you are having here is something which is related to your The second part of the definition is something which is related to your HDFS, and the first part what you're having here, is something related to your the file in which the data has been stored. Now, Shashank, a question to you. What is the difference between pig and this one at the time of defining the schema?
Basically, in Pig, we are loading the data directly into into one session when we work on one session. But here we are trying to load. We are just defining and we are just creating a table to load data. We are not actually loading the data as of now, but we
one
are
thing
just
is that,
trying.
Pig really doesn't dictate the structures, right? It can have the option of taking the structured data. It can have the option of taking the semi-structured data or unstructured data.
Yes, Ravi.
Semi-structured data. Okay, but here Hive is expected to take only the structured data, and the structured data should always exist in the form of the table in the case of the metastore, and it also exists in the case of the file in the case of your HDFS. So that's why when I start defining this one, what it's going to do is that it is going to define that particular statement. It is going to define that particular file here. Is it clear to you guys, Murli, Kamran, and Divija?
Yes, Ravi.
Are any questions?
It's clear, Ravi.
Okay. Now, I've created this particular file. And one more thing that you need to really understand is HDFS or else your Hive doesn't encourage loading your individual records, loading your independent records. So anything what you want to do has to be done within the batch only, has to be done in terms of the batch only. So when I say something called as a batch, okay, what we need to do is that we need to have all your records to be specified within a particular file, okay, and you have to have that particular file to be specified in order to get in order to load the data into this table structure. That's how it is going to be done. So that's why we really don't encourage loading individual records into this particular table. If at all, if you want to have those records to be inserted, it has to be done with the help of a single command. Okay, and the single command should exist within the file, and that file is expected to append the data within this particular table, basically. Okay, that's how this is something that is going to happen here. Yeah.
Yeah, Ravi, you define the city and state as one is the string caps and another one is a lowercase. Is there any difference? Yeah, it's just typo.
It is just typo here. Just typo. We want to have a custom practice saying that what you do is that you define int as a small int and then check whether it is really going to take the data or not. Okay, based on that one you'll be able to understand. Okay, a general convention is to make sure that we try to define with the help of the CND. As soon as if it has been defined or not, what you do is that you specify something called as describe. What is the table name? You're saying here, right? It doesn't make any difference.
It's all lower cases.
They are all lower cases, basically. But the writability point of view, we try to define the column names within small letters, and we try to define these data types within caps. That is only one thing. Okay, it doesn't really make any difference. And these are all the primitive data types, what I have told you, right, Kamran? These are all the primitive data types we generally make up here in this case. Okay, now what we want to do is that I would like to load the data. Okay, for the purpose of loading the data, what we have is that I have that particular file. Where is that file? I have told you. That file is nothing but your txn.txt. I have told you, right? If you remember. in this Idreka home, I have this particular TRNS. Where is that one? TXNS is there as well as TXNS.txt is there. Either you can use this one or else you can use this one for the purpose of loading the data. So that's why I'm going to use a particular command. The same command I'm going to use, which is nothing but the load. Okay, what I want to do here, I want to load the data. Okay, where is your file right now? The file is not in your HDFS, but the file is there within the local file system. Okay, but now what I need to do, I need to specify this particular path. Okay, that path is specified as this particular in path. And what is the name of the file? The name of the file is that txns 1.txt txns1.txt, and then if at all, if you are trying to insert the records into the first time, that is fine. But if at all, if there is some data which is already existing, what I want to do is that I want to use this particular command called as the overwrite command. I want to use this particular command called as the overwrite command. Overwrite command, and where exactly I want to load? I want to load it into this particular table. And what is the name of the table here? The name of the table is nothing but your TXN records. This is the same thing that I want to do it here in this particular case. Shashank, is it clear how I'm going to load the data? Am I loading any individual records here? I'm not loading any individual records, right? Shashank?
No. No, Ravi, you're not loading any individual records. You're directly dumping everything in there.
Can you tell me, the reason is that HDFS is basically used for your analytics purpose. Hive is basically used for your analytics purpose, right? When it is being used for analytics purpose, with the help of Hive, what I want to do is that I would like to, with the help of Hive, what I would like to do is that I would like to store multiple records. Massive data is something that I want to analyze. Okay, for the purpose of storing this massive data, as I have told you yesterday itself, it is not a OLTP system. It is not something like you try to insert record by record over there. So that is the reason what we want to do is that is the reason what we want to do is that we'd like to load all this particular data in a particular mode, and we call that particular mode as the batch mode. We call that particular mode as the batch mode. Okay, so for the purpose of loading this data into this particular batch mode, what is something that we are planning to do here is we'll try to execute this particular statement. It has loaded this particular records. Okay, why this is being specified as deleted here? Already you have a file. With that data, which is nothing but your transaction records. But since we have specified something called as overwrite, it has deleted that particular data, and then you're able to get these particular records. If you want to know the number of records that are existing, what I do is that I'll go ahead and then specify something like select count of star from TXN records I can specify. Select count of star from TXN records I'll specify. See whether how many records I'm going to get here. It is going to execute your MapReduce job, right? It is going to execute your MapReduce job. It is not going to fire the data against the table. It is the SQL statement what you are given is going to be converted into your MapReduce job, and that MapReduce job is going to count the number of records that you are having, and based on those particular number of records, it is expected to return that particular count. So that's why it is taking its own time for the purpose of counting the number of records in order to give you that particular data. So you are seeing here, right, MapReduce. Divya, you are following. Is it not executing your MapReduce? okay, for the purpose of returning the count of records. But one thing what you need to understand is that all these particular records are not existing in the file, is not existing in the table, but they are existing in the file in order to retrieve this particular data. Hence, it takes its own amount of time. Kamran, if you remember yesterday, I have told you, if you execute this statement against Oracle, okay, the results will be faster. But since the entire thing has to happen within your HDFS, okay, the latency time is going to be more when you want to execute your Hive queries against your HDFS. Do you remember? Hence, it has taken something like 69 seconds, almost 1 minute it has taken for the purpose of retrieving this particular 50,000 records. So, Shashank, now you understand what is the difference between your normal SQL and this particular HiveQL for the purpose of generating your records here, generating your results here in this case?
Yes, Ravi. Yeah. And
Murli,
Ravi,
your comments,
does this table sit on the HDFS or does it sit on?
Hey,
It's
one thing
basically,
here.
you said it sits in the metastore, right?
The table structure sits in the metastore. The table structure sits in the metastore. Okay, but the data of that particular table is going to be stored within the HDFS. And
Okay.
the metastore, what we are talking about here, is just like a name node that contains the location of that particular data within HDFS. So metastore is just like a name node. Okay. So
Yeah.
that is the reason what happens is the metastore will contain only the structure of the file and it contains the location where this data is going to be stored. But the actual data lies within the data node of your HDFS. Data node of your HDFS. Is it clear now what we are talking
Yes,
about
sir.
here?
Yeah. And all these are temporary tables, right, Ravi?
These are permanent tables only. These are not temporary tables. They are permanent tables. In the case of pig, you have the temporary relationships. Hey, yesterday we discussed it, right? Divya, you remember when we discussed about this Hive tutorial? Okay, I have told this metastore what you're having here is nothing but a relational database, right? It is nothing but a relational database.
Yes,
What is
Ravi.
that one? When I said that it is a relational database, 1 minute. Here, this is your relational database. This is the place where your table structure is going to be stored, Shashank. Now tell me, is it temporary or permanent?
Yeah, it's permanent until it's stored in metastore. I mean, if you delete the metadata in the metastore, then whole of the table is lost, right?
Whole of the table, no, it is not lost, but the data exists. You remember when I have loaded that particular data in the table using that file, I have used a command called as overwrite. Okay, when I used a command called as overwrite, what it did, it went ahead and then deleted that particular data and then recreated that data, right? So that's the reason. What happens is we need to really understand. We need to really understand this table structure. What you're having here is permanent, and so is your data also as well within the HDFS storage. Until and unless you delete that particular data, it is not going to be deleted. Shashank.
Okay, Ravi. Yeah.
If the same structure file is second file is exists same structure, can we load it in that thing? We can append it in the same file, a same structure.
Sorry.
My question is that like
The same structure.
you have a transaction 1 file and you have another transaction 2 file. Transaction 1 you already load 50,000 record. Transaction 2 file have like 25,000 record and you wanna load that one, and all together is gonna be 75,000. So can we do it is this way?
Yeah. Why not? Let's go ahead and then try. Instead of doing this one,
instead of overwriting, I'm saying I don't use the overwrite.
This one, right? What you're talking?
Yeah.
TX not there. TXNS, that's it.
Is your in path means like is your local path, like where you present standing
Yeah,
PWD.
exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, you can also have the option of specifying the HDFS path also as well. Okay. Now, if you try to count this number of records, see what happens. Now tell me here, has it been appended or not?
It should append, right? It should append.
Definitely. Yeah, this has appended. Suppose if I go ahead and then specify this one as overwrite,
Then you have like only 65,000 record then.
let me check. Overwrite into this table takes records. Divya, you're understanding the difference, right? What we're doing here?
Yes, Ravi.
Now count the number of records. Now tell me how many records exist. Shashank, tell me the number of records that exist here.
Must be 10 lakhs.
How many are there?
Yes, I'm here.
10 lakhs?
It's
Clear?
1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 million.
Earlier?
Yeah.
Earlier, how many records we have seen?
Earlier we
First time we
saw
have seen
1
50,000.
million and 50,000. And the second time you overrode it with,
150,000.
yeah, you overwrote it with the second file txn, so which had only 1 million.
So you understood, right? What is the main difference between the overwrite and the load file and all these particular things?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It says
Now tell me, is it
copy.
huh?
One question. It says
Sorry?
copy. One question, Ravi. It says copying data first and then copying file, right? So, so it's copying to where? Like, is it going to a HDFS location or?
HDFS location, yes. It's going to the HDFS location basically, yeah.
So every time, like you use like now the load 2 times. Every time it is copying that file, right?
Yeah, every time it should copy that file basically, yes. Exactly. Every time.
No matter
Whenever you
what.
want to do, every time it has to do. Yeah, no matter what it is, it has to do the same thing.
Very
Okay.
quick question. Is there any way like we can, any tool or anything like I can see the node, how physical node, what you explained in the previous class for architecture point of view, like physically, is there any tool to we can see like how they're storing in these things?
I already shown you, right, at some point. Okay. 50070 I have told you, remember? Localhost colon
Yeah,
50070 is the port number that we use. This is what is your Hadoop number. I think that's only can browse this particular file system. Here is what is your user. Then it's user. You have your rate and then you have your how directly that is. This is what is your 410. Open this one. Here. This is what is your warehouse directory. These are your TXM records which has been loaded 413. You are seeing here, right? Guys?
yeah. That's a high.
Hello?
Yes, Ravi.
This is what TXM as well, which is that's how we have been storing here. That's how you can see the number of this is a file. So it's a file, it's not a table, right? Basically. That's how we have stored here. Okay. Now I think I need to this is clear. Now I'll do one more thing. What I would like to do is that I'd like to find out the total amount for every category here. Total amount for every category here with the help of this group by class. Okay. Now what I do is that I try to specify something like select category comma sum of amount. First, let me see this. Describe what is the table name? TX records, right? Why it is not given? Describe. Yeah, it is given. Describe TX records. Okay, once it has been given, what it is that select what I'm saying here, category comma sum of amount from TXN records group by category. By category. It executes one amount of time for the purpose of doing the result is. Process is very slow, guys. It accept this one. Process is going to be really, really slow. Team sport, water sports, and winter sports. The sum is that much. I've seen Divya, how it is getting you there. What are the things that is trying to make you in order to get you the things over there? That is the same way it is going to do the things basically. Okay.
Yes, Ravi.
air sport, combat sports, dancing, exercise, games, gymnastics, indoor games, and blah blah blah. Okay, this is how it is going to execute. Okay, there are some more database concepts that we need to see in terms of partitioning of the tables, the buckets, the cluster. Okay, all those things we need to see. The moment once we start seeing them, we'll create those things, and we'll need to see some set of parameters that we need to create. Okay, once we start seeing them, we see those things in action before we go ahead and then start implementing those things also as well. Okay. So you're following, right, Shashank? How exactly these things are happening?
Yes, Ravi. Yeah.
Great. Please let me know in case if you have any questions, and tomorrow we'll meet in order to take it from there. Okay.
Okay, Ravi.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Ravi.
Good night.
Thanks, Ravi. Good night.
Right.
Thank you. Ravi, you forget to send me the last Friday's document.
Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow morning, definitely, for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.